right before the new GTA 6 trailer will come out on Friday, December 27th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'd like to talk about Vice City and how it was one of the most inspirational games I've ever had growing up. On the PlayStation 2, I had WWE, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, NASCAR 2008, Madden, I think, 2009, Need for Speed Most Wanted. All of these games in their own right were legendary and some of the greatest pieces of media ever created. But the one that stood above every single one of them was GTA Vice City. Like, as good as those games were, this is the magnum opus of PS2 games, at least for me. I grew up playing GTA 3 and GTA Vice City. Sadly, I was never bought San Andreas, so I never got to experience it when I was younger. This was an era where Rockstar Game threw banger after banger after banger, like every year. Like all three of those games came out 1 year after another, and in some cases even a few months. And all those games to this very day are super iconic, super well renowned, and remembered dearly. GTA 3 came out 1 year before I was born. That game is 23 years old, and Vice City is 22 years old, and San Andreas is 20 years old. I played these games years and years later after they came out because that's how legendary they were. They were the top greatest hits, every single one of them. GTA 3 brought the series to the 3D universe. While it did have many problems, it basically changed games forever. Every time a game wants an open world, it's because of the influence GTA 3 had on video games because of its commercial success. Vice City did the same thing GTA 3 did, but heavily improved everything that GTA 3 had as problems. And finally, San Andreas, they improved everything, heavily changed the way you interact with the story, and you could finally swim. These games are so iconic that GTA San Andreas, just by itself, still has an active community, active modders, active everything, to this very day after the game was made. Just because there's no new updates, they'll make things themselves and add it to the game because they love it that much. But anyways, going back to GTA Vice City, personally, it is my favorite game of the entire series. Seeing GTA finally headed back to Miami and the new trailer about to come out is amazing. I remember Rockstar said they would never make another GTA game in Miami, just due to how ludicrously ridiculous the crime was in the 80s. This game was based off of the movie Scarface. It had such high success that some people thought Scarface: The World Is Yours was ripping off Vice City. That's how popular the game was at the time. Tommy Vercetti was the protagonist of GTA Vice City. For 10 years before the story started, he went to jail. His best friend set him on a mission that would have him kill multiple people and purposefully get him arrested, due to him being jealous and scared of him taking his power. When he finally gets out, he finds out that his dad was not taken care of, and Tommy was a made man. A made man is so important, they cannot be killed by other associates in the mafia, including the boss. That's why instead he tried to get him sent to jail because he couldn't kill him himself or even order anyone else to. They also have authority to give to lower ranking members of the gang. They have high status and social ranks, as well as many different rewards. His best friend, who he grew up his entire life with, happily threw all that away because he was scared of Tommy and how good he was. After he got out of prison, everything in Miami changed. The entire thing was dominated by drugs and people going to parties and a huge amount of crazy crime. It was so bad that when the movie Scarface was released, people thought Al Pacino's career would be destroyed by the movie because of how controversial it was. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about Scarface and give you Vice City because that's what you're looking for. Long story short, after he came back from prison, he was sent to give money to someone else. They were ambushed, all the money was taken, and everyone else died besides him. So in order to find out who stole the money, they went to many people, killed many people, and then started working for a guy called Diaz, doing a bunch of missions for him. Then later they get ambushed by the Cubans, who are their main rival and have more control of the city than they do. After that, they do much more stuff for Diaz. Then later it's found out Diaz was responsible for the initial mission going bad. Anyways, much later, him and Lance, he's the black dude in the white suit, who's basically Tommy's right-hand man most of the story. They go on a mission, and then they finally kill Diaz. After him taking everything Diaz owns, like his mansion, he starts an empire around the city. He starts everything. He even purchased a bunch of failing businesses to act as a front so the law wouldn't look into him and how he's getting that much money. So Tommy gets a huge ego. Sonny sends his men to kill him. He kills them pretty easily. At this point, Tommy said, Vice City is mine, basically, where nothing he wants for Sonny. Everything is his. He doesn't want anything to do with Sonny. He wants his own drug empire and to do whatever he wants. Then you get into a fight within the mansion. You find out that Sonny was responsible for putting you in jail, which I did say earlier, but Tommy found out this time. So after that, Tommy killed everybody. Like, hundreds of people in the mansion just die, and now he has control of everything. Then in the ending, he walks off and he's proclaiming that the entire city will be his, and that's where the story ends. Even though I said I wouldn't talk about Scarface again, it's very different from the ending where Tony Montana just dies right at the end of it. But yeah, Tommy is now gonna be the ruler of the city, and that's where the story ends, and we don't really know much that happened after. A lot of speculation going that he was either killed by someone or became a super rich and famous person who eventually made all his businesses legitimate so that he wouldn't get in trouble with the law. And this song had such a great radio that every single song doesn't sound repetitive or boring. Like, it was banger after banger after banger. We had Out of Touch, Dance Hall Days, Video Killed the Radio Star, Owner of a Lonely Heart. We also had Billie Jean and Wanna Be Starting Something by, I don't even have to say his name, you already know who he is. Just to talk about the speculation that he was not in the game, he was in the original release, but every other release of the game, they took off his music, probably just due to how ridiculously expensive getting licenses for his music is. Also, I think I completed this game at least 10 times since my childhood. I remember rampaging through the city, destroying everything and having cops everywhere try to kill me, or me glitching out and just falling through the map randomly. This is a game you could legitimately play over and over and over again. It isn't dull, boring, and soulless like a lot of newer games are nowadays. GTA 6 has a very high standard to reach up to, especially with that game made on the PS2. And while they haven't exactly made terrible games, because they made things like Bully, Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption, for the past few years, all they've been doing is just milking GTA 5 for whatever little money they can get left before they have to throw out a new game. I remember when it came out, everyone was so hyped for it, but now people just look at it and are kind of annoyed with GTA, all the shark cards, all these purchases, everything. And with GTA Online becoming as astronomically huge as it did since GTA 4 when it was initially started, I have a high belief this story mode for the game will be heavily based off of the online mode, with maybe not a regular story mode just due to that, which shouldn't be a bad thing. But having some type of character you can attach yourself to would be far, far more enjoyable than a soulless online character who doesn't speak, doesn't do anything, has no facial expressions. and is overall so unwilling to go against his bosses or even try to get a bigger pay cut that Lester is probably a multi-billionaire just off of how many people do his heist alone. Especially with how little pay cuts you take. Like for a guy doing crime, you're basically working minimum wage and going across the city for 12 minutes every single mission just to get like a couple $1,000s when everything in the game costs millions and millions of dollars. But yeah, this was my little nostalgia trip slash rant about potentially GTA 6. Anyways, I'll probably leave a reaction to the trailer as well, but just do whatever you want now.